sometimes the hardest part of growth isn't becoming a new person. It's usually when you start to realize that you're no longer able to be around the same environment and the same people in the way that you used to. Outgrowing people is probably one of the hardest things to go through, and it's not because change itself is scary, but it's more because you're no longer able to be the same person around old friends, old relationships, old environments in the way that you used to. And honestly, it takes such a long time, at least it did for me, to be able to admit that you've simply outgrown people. And I wanted to make this video for you to understand all the signs that you might be outgrowing an environment or a group of friends or a relationship, especially with the subtle signs that we tend to ignore within ourselves, and allow you to understand that maybe it's time to let go. Maybe it's time to move on. So we're just going to move on to the signs, and the first sign is feeling immense anxiety. When you're not supposed to be around a certain person, your gut and your body feels it. When you're around them, or after you've hanged around these people, you might notice you feel much worse. You start feeling anxious, you start feeling insecure, you start hating yourself, you start having all these negative thoughts either about yourself or about other things as well. And it's because you're picking up on the energy of the people around you that aren't matching your frequency anymore. And it's not to say yours is above and theirs is below, or theirs is above and yours is below. I don't see energy in that way. I don't think it should be hierarchical in that way. But it's more that your body is trying to tell you, hey, we don't actually belong here anymore. And when we feel fear, we want to isolate ourselves. And so if your body is trying to keep you away from people with the amount of anxiety and worry and stress that you feel around certain people, that is a sign that you're outgrowing them. And it's so irrational, and it kind of leads you to feel a lot of guilt about it. But I want you to realize that because you're so used to prioritizing other people's needs above your own, you're ignoring this once again. And that takes me to the second sign, which is suddenly you'll feel like you're seeing a new side to the people around you, and a side to them that you never noticed before, especially with the negative traits. When you're so used to ignoring your own needs, when you feel like you need emotional support, or when you feel like you need to talk to someone, and this dynamic or this relationship or this friendship has always been one where you're listening, where you're giving energy constantly, but it's never been one when you're taking it in or when you feel supported. And for the longest time, that felt normalized to your nervous system. But now that you're healing as a person individually, it starts to make itself obvious. You're suddenly like, oh, this is the kind of person you are. Was I blind to this? Was I deaf? Like, what was going on? And you start to feel confused and look back and think, wow, they've actually always been this kind of person. I'm just starting to see it. And that's a sign of involvement, in my opinion. The next sign is feeling alone around this person or these group of people. Feeling like the conversations are off, the conversations are boring you. Almost like it feels as if you're having conversations that don't feel mentally stimulating anymore. You might even be dozing off, or you just feel like, why are these people interested in this? You're just very confused at the interest of the people around you at this point. And maybe you used to relate to the topics that they're talking about, or the things that they want to talk about, the things that they're interested in, or the things that, you know, are exciting to them or are frustrating to them. And, you know, you'll probably tell yourself, maybe this is just a phase, maybe I'm just going through a difficult time and I'm no longer able to feel like I'm resonating with these people, and maybe this feeling will go away. And guess what? Every single time you're around the same person or group of people, you're going to feel the same feelings, and it might even feel worse, because the more you're ignoring your own needs, the more your body and your soul are just going to scream at you like, hey, like, no, this is not our space, this is not for us, let's move on, let's go. The next sign is you feeling or you noticing that they only can see you as your past self. I've had so many friendships that have been in my life for so long, for years and years and years. I have friends that are really good for me and that I still keep around, and I have friends that I've definitely outgrown. And I think the biggest tell was how much effort they were putting in to get to know the current you. When they start to assume things about you, your emotions, your thoughts, your personality, your character, and they based it off of the version of you that they met, or the version of you from like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, or whenever it was that you met, that's when you'll start to notice something. And if you're someone, you're always evolving and growing as a person, you're always trying to learn and improve yourself, and you're very introspective and you are always looking inwards, you'll notice that not everyone is like that. Some people don't evolve. They stay stuck in the personality that they had from when they were like a teenager, essentially, or a child even. And they don't try to improve on themselves. They don't try to learn lessons from their experiences. They just want to stay stuck as the same person. And it really, really will trigger them when you start to change as a person. And I think then desperation to cling on to your old self and your old identity is more of a reflection of how much they're able to grow and evolve as a person. And I think it becomes so disheartening, and it makes you feel so alone when you start to see that the people around you still see you as someone that you're not, and they haven't gotten to know you beyond a certain point of time. And then it starts to become this relationship where I'm changing as a person, you're changing as a person in your own way, but we're no longer able to connect in the way that we used to. And I just want to say, it's okay to be a different person than the one they initially met, or the person that they've created in their own mind, essentially. It's okay for you to evolve and grow as a person, because you're not here to just exist and breathe. You're here to live a life, and you're not going to be able to live your life to the fullest if you're constantly surrounding yourself with people that make you feel isolated, alone, make you feel anxious. It's absolutely okay for not everyone to come into every single phase of your life. You can have differing opinions to me, but I believe that in some sense, every single relationship is temporary. That temporary time might be like 50 years of your life, 80 years of your life, or it might be 10 years of your life, or 1 year, or 2 months. But yeah, I think people come in and come out, whether because they're just not around in this world anymore, or because you guys just aren't for each other anymore. And it's okay to accept that that's just how life is sometimes. I think it would be worse if you constantly remained as the same person, with the same desires, with the same wishes, with the same dreams, with the same emotions or personality or character. I think that would be much more disheartening and just sad to not change and to not grow as a person, right? So if you think about it from that positive aspect, you'll be able to see that it doesn't make you a bad person. So just change the person. It's okay. You're okay. The next sign is when the only thing you have in common is your past. If the only thing you can talk about is things that you have experienced in the past, or the fun times in the beginning of your relationship, or just like the highlights of your friendship, or the people that you used to know, if that's the only thing you guys can talk about, then that's already a sign that that relationship has taken its course. Like it's just evolved into something that no longer feels aligned with you. You're not actually adding anything to your lives. You're just reminiscing on a common past. And I think there's a way to honor that past. You can always look back at that relationship and that friendship and be like, oh, this really helped me, and this helped me grow in this way, and you know, we had a lot of time at this period of our lives. But if you've evolved past that, that's okay. And I think the thing that nobody wants to talk about, that I want to mention, is the amount of guilt that you're probably going to feel when outgrowing a group of friends, especially if it's been people that have been in your life for so long. It really eats away at you to feel like you're either feeling anxious, or you're feeling down, or you're starting to feel irritated by certain behavior, and you know, you want to avoid people because they keep draining you, and you just start feeling like such a bad person, because there must be something wrong with you. Nobody else is feeling this way, right? It's just you feeling this way. And it really, really drains you, and it constantly makes you go like, oh, you're actually just being a bad person, so let's ignore our own needs, and let's ignore what our body's trying to tell us, and try and constantly give these people a chance, constantly try and repair this relationship, when after a certain point it's okay to let it go, you know? And I think as long as you're not going out of your way to go and hurt someone deliberately, either verbally or in some other way, that already means that you're a good person. The fact that even when you feel drained, even when you feel down, even when you feel anxious, even when you feel like there's been behavior that might have upset you about these people and you've tried to communicate it with them and you feel like it doesn't make a difference or whatever it is, even at that point, you're still considering someone else's feelings above your own. That already shows you that you're a good person. People with bad intentions, people that are genuinely just evil, they don't even consider this as a fact. Like, am I being unreasonable? Am I being bad? Am I, being a hurtful person? No, they don't consider any of this. And especially with women, we tend to really struggle with trying to draw up boundaries between people. When you feel drained or when you feel uncomfortable, you're told to ignore your own needs and put the needs of everyone else above your own. And I think what you need to realize, it is absolutely your right to choose happiness and peace above someone else's happiness and peace. It is absolutely your right to remove yourself from environments that no longer feel aligned with you, that you no longer feel happy and excited in. If you no longer feel the way that you used to in those relationships, it is absolutely your right to remove yourself from them. And you can't actually bring in positive new relationships into your life if you don't let go of the ones that are no longer serving you. Because what you're telling the universe there is, yeah, I don't care about my own needs, and I'm going to keep around people that aren't meeting my own personal needs and who I am today. And I'm just going to cling on to these people because they feel familiar and it feels more comfortable. I think when you fear being alone and when you fear solitude, you're fearing self-reflection, essentially. Because that's what happens when you're alone. You're really thinking about things, right? You're really thinking about yourself, your relationships. When you're avoiding thinking about all the relationships that no longer feel aligned with who you are today, then you're just going to constantly put yourself in environments that don't make you feel happy. And you absolutely deserve people who bring energy into your life rather than drain it out of you. I really hope that this video helped. Just remember that I love you guys, and I really, really want you to choose what's best for you, what feels aligned for you, and free yourself from constantly thinking of other people's needs above your own. Just for once in your life, choose yourself. See you in the next video. Bye.